It feels like every day is just wake up and walk out to this van and it's in a slightly different state as it was the day before. This is just our life at the moment.
I feel like we're getting more tired.
Yeah, we're just slowly getting more and more tired and achy as the days pass.
And we're slowly getting to a part where the brain's starting to fog as well, because it's so hard to like compartmentalize everything.
Yeah, I feel like the easy jobs in the van, not easy jobs, but the obvious jobs of what to do and what to do next have kind of happened. Like there was the sort of insulation skylights floor, that natural process, and now we're on to having to decide
The walls first.
what to do. Yeah, so as Sarah said, the next thing is probably going to be the walls, but there's a few things I need to do before that.
Oh yeah, sure, you've got. See, we've
got-
just done it.
Yeah. I've got to work out electrics and where we want to put wires in. I'm not going to be doing all of that now. It'll just be a bit of a first fix so we can get the walls up. Would also be quite nice to get our water tank filler hose cut through just here.
So I was picking up Brussels that we left. Brussels sprouts?
Bristles. Floor's looking good now though. Last night after we got this down, we went round with some Von Seal and just gave it a really good treatment, just to make sure that it's nice and sealed. It's going to be covered in vinyl, but we wanted just to make sure that any moisture that did sort of seep through is handled well. I guess it's time for me to go and get my wiring diagram that I've started making and, you know, put some wires in.
I suppose this is entirely your department. I don't know anything about this bit.
I don't know loads.
You did it in the last. True, but you did it in the last van. I mean, I'll be on standby, of course, but
Yeah.
have fun.
Right, so this here is a very rough wiring diagram, electrical layout. It's kind of based on our previous van. We know we like the lighting setup in there and that our plugs and USBs work well. We've got quite a few dotted around the van for our needs, and we kind of want to keep that exactly the same. Having got all the sort of breakers and fuses and everything perfect on here, this is mainly just going to help me do that first fix, just get loom and wiring up in here so that when we put the walls on, that stuff's already nicely behind. Right, so what we've got here is got a wiring loom. This is just basically a plastic tube, and that's just keeping all of this cable away from some of the rougher metal parts. It's just going to reduce rubbing and help a little bit with airflow and ventilation. We don't want anything overheating. Then we've got this here, which is our 12 volt system. It's a twin core, and that's going to be kind of handling all our lighting systems and a couple of the other peripherals that we do run on 12 volts. And then this here is a tri-core 240 volt cable. You having fun?
I'm trying to be on my best behaviour.
Conveniently using tripod as a bit of a stand for the 12 volt cable. There's a lot of this, so kind of just leaving it on there and just then tugging it through these looms as I'm going. We've essentially got 12 volt running for our lights in the bed and our lights under the counters, also one underneath the bed, and then we've got 230 line running in this thinner loom. That's going to power the bed, also some plug sockets underneath the table, up in our cupboard here for our router and battery charging, and then also there's going to be one plug down here, which is for our cooker actually. It uses it to do the cooking spark, but the fridge and the water pump are obviously 12 volt. Just going to run around now, cable time, neaten all this up, and then just store it nicely in here until a later date when we actually get it to good use. So the nice thing about having our old van parked directly across the road is that it is the perfect reference for measuring everything, and we know what works. So we want our bed to be bang on the same height as last time. We know it fits everything we want underneath, and it also gives us enough ceiling height to sit up in bed and, you know, not feel like we're hitting the roof all the time. We're going to try and fit the bed to this metal support beam just here. In an ideal world we wouldn't have put insulation on this yet, but there's always going to be things that we do that we have to undo a little bit as time goes on. All we can try to do is prepare as best we can do. So putting the wiring in is one thing. We are going to have to take this off though, just to inspect these beams and work out how to fix the bed so it's nice and secure. So this right here is the height that we want our bed slats to be laid on, which is a little bit above this bar. I know with these Citroen vans, most people seem to fix a thick bit of wood onto this, and then they'll mount the small metal brackets for the IKEA bed supports to fit in. But doing that, you actually lose about this much space either side, which is quite a lot when you add it together. The van, it's this. We're going to try and keep it in line with this, with the walls, so we're using as much width as possible. We also want to come up a little bit higher than this. Last night I did a load of drawings, just very rough sort of technical drawings, just of how this might work, and I think I've sort of settled on one that makes sense. Shown it to Sarah, she also seems to say that that looks like the best way of supporting it and also maintaining the current height, so just got to put it in place now. Now that this is out, you can see these two support beams that we're going to be attaching onto, and as I said, most people fit a thick beam onto this, which we will be doing, but rather than fitting our bed inside that, we're going to try and fit our bed on top of that, just to try and keep as much width as possible. It'll make a lot more sense when I do it and when we're there. For now, I kind of just wanted to get these off, inspect, and then get some wood, some bolts, some screws ordered so that we can make this all work. So I think in doing that, we'll be able to get our bed about a 185 length. That's up about 5-6 centimeters from our previous bed. But I would think that if you're doing those wooden blocks, you'd probably be down at about a 175, which is getting narrow when you think about pillows as well and a bit of extra room for your legs. So the width is definitely something we want to try and keep. Happy with that though. It's actually not as much of a headache as I thought it was going to be, assuming everything I order fits. Here's the old rust bucket. Off of there. Yep. And from there. Right, so for this we've got, I think this is actually made by Fiat to fill this up. With our old van, I think it was a cheaper one, and I found it over time, the key barrel got really rusted and kind of destroyed. I actually ended up replacing this in our van.
Did you?
Yeah, once.
Kept that quiet?
I only replaced the cap. I just bought a new cap just because the key was just getting stuck all the time. So I'm hoping by buying Fiat, which is a bit more expensive, we don't need to do that. Just marked this up, measured it compared to the old van. We've got a cross on there, and now just to get this fitted. There's the new hole. Just need to drill some holes in for the screws, and then we'll of course rust treatment this up, make sure it's nice and protected, and then get this fitted. I'm actually going to finish this by hand just because I really don't want to overclock it with this. Nicely done. So yes, that's it for the day. Tomorrow, got to go pick up loads of wood, bolts, screws, everything we need to get onto the next stage of like bed and walls and stuff like that. So it's going to be quite a big one, I think. Let's see
What side?
This is going for this wall here. So we're just putting the original wall back in to see what we're going to do with this. Sarah's got a nice idea for what's going to happen above the bed.
Yeah, basically when you put the wall up, you lose so much room behind. Look at all this space that you lose. I just want to try and create like a little inset so that this flat wall will be as close to the wall as possible, and then we can have the nice paneling as like a frame. Kind of like a mini side pod.
Yes, but just an inside pod.
An inside pod, yes.
Got a small drawing just here of our bed, and this is Snorlax, not Sarah. And then this is the idea that there'd be a cut into the wall, recessed. And then you also want to run the lighting in there as well, so the lighting's all hidden.
Yeah, I just thought it would be a nice, because I've seen a couple of vans do it, which is really pretty. But basically that if we can get the full inset, we can line the whole inset with lights so it should glow. And then the idea is to have a plain wood on the inside and then the paneling around it.
So what we're going to do now is probably cut this original board off just below the bed. So this wall here isn't actually going to be load bearing at all, it's just cladding. So I'm cutting little wooden blocks and then I can insert them behind the metalwork, drill through and then sandwich it all together, which means I'm not drilling into the actual metal itself and saving me a little bit of time. This is what I bought to attach to the van. I've got this and a load of really long bolts. Just need to cut this down into lengths that are going to be the width of the bed. Right, so I'm going to do those at a 135. That's 1,350 millimeters, which will give us a little bit wider than we need, but it gives me things that on the back and on the front I can attach stuff to create sideboards for the bed and a bit of extra support around it, just to hide the metal frames that we are going to be getting from IKEA. These are going to sit just in there. We're going to mount on top of. Now,
you're going to need my hand, aren't you?
I am going to need your hand. You're going to have to
my tiny little hands.
Draw on here where I'm going to drill through these, okay, so that we don't have to hit the metalwork at all.
Yep. I'm useful.
Right, so Sarah's just put her hand behind, nice tiny hand, and drawn out one of these. And we think what we'll do is drill one, then go back and mark all the others so we can make sure it's actually level.
God, that twisted the wood. I'm basically a tank.
So that's one drilled, and they should be in the exact same position. We can just use this one here as a guide for the other one. And then what we've got here is a load of, this is one of the most incredible Ziploc bags. Try and get that under.
I can see you've already broken it.
Oh. Those tiny hands come in use again. So what we've got here is a bag full of M8 bolts at 100mm, locking nut and a load of washers on there. These are going to go all the way through and bolt this directly to the van. Any point that we have wood against the edge of the van that we're waiting, we're going to put 2 washers in just to try and reduce any squeaks or any noise that comes from it. So I'm hoping once these bolts are finger tight, we'll be able to get in with these 2 ratchets and sockets. They're both 13. Hopefully we can get the small one in behind and then use the big one on the front just to tighten these up and get this really nicely secured onto the van wall. Good effort. Took us a lot longer and that was a lot more fiddly than planned.
Yeah, my hand now kind of hurts, but it's fine.
How can we test it? Oh, hang on. Yeah, it works. Oh, that's horrible. That'll be full Superman for you.
Probably.
Here we go. Oh, that's gonna be hard. Go on, go on.
Oh, wait.
Do you want me to support you first? Oh!
Oh, that's so hard.
Fair play. That looks solid.
That was really difficult.
That looks solid.
Thank you.
Yeah, they're in now. Got those in now. Really nice and solid. I mean, it's the van wall that moves. The Volvo van shapes when I rock it, so yeah, pleased with those. Let's maybe get these walls back in and I'll start measuring these at the cut. So what I'm thinking, yeah. Basically that. So I've made a little mock-up of Sarah's plan. So essentially this, like, ping. The front wall will have a hole in it. There'll then be a slight depth. Inside that, we're gonna put all our lighting. That's what I'm trying to work out now, is how to make that in this bigger scale out of wood.
Well, you did it with an envelope, so...
Yeah. Realistically, that is wood, it's just pulp.
Exactly, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Just cut and stick.
No excuses.
I do appreciate that though, because I'm a visual learner. When you were trying to explain it to me, and you were just like, you could see it just wasn't going in.
It's like, no, I need to make a little mock-up.
It was the way you just walked off and started making things, and I was like, he's making me an example.
That's what 4 years of art school does for you. So these are our bed frame mid-beams. These are from IKEA. They're called Skorva. I don't think you can buy them in store, you can only get them online, but they do deliver. And these, they extend to whatever width you need. You do also get the brackets that these fit into. You can't buy those directly from IKEA, but I believe you can get them on Amazon, eBay, whatever. We have also got from IKEA one set of double bed slats, which will fit to this. We will have to trim them down a little bit because they'll be too long, but they will fit the width perfectly. So that's really helpful as well. We'll leave those boxes up there for now until we actually install that. Sorry, there's roadworks going on about 10 meters away. So this is the leftover beam that we just used to bolt to the side of the van. The nice thing is that the Skorva mid-beams fit perfectly over the thickness of this, which I believe is 70mm. So what we're going to do now is go and take some measurements, get this cut, and then we can get these beams mounted. So, I've got 6 of these ripped off now, and these are going to sit on top of our beam that we mounted, and then these beams will be resting on top. Do you want to give that a demo?
I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, so that's going to go just there. And then on the other side, so that they will sit like that on top of that wood and perfectly in line with our measurement. Right, so that's those secured down, giving them a little bit of wood glue underneath just to try and stop any sort of wobble or movement. Those are ready to go really. Just gonna test out those beams now. That's pretty good. So the third one we need is still in the old van. And realistically, we don't want to fit these in place anyway now because...
We still in there.
Yeah. So I'm just trying to work out how best to cut these panels. I think we'll end the first one at the bed and panel in that area. And then we'll do a separate bit of wall for the other side of... We're going to have a central divide here, just like in our current van, have a dividing little retainer wall. And then we're going to do a different panel for that side there because I think the walls there is going to be a little bit further out off the van frame. So I'll quickly cut it there and then hopefully we can get this one fitted in place. So this panel is cut. It needs to go on the wall there. One thing didn't install just yet, and it's kind of one of those things that I was like, I'll work it out when I get there. Again, would have been lovely to have not had the insulation up for this. We're going to need some battens on here, something to attach the walls to at various different heights. The wall here is going to be a little bit wider than it is just in front of the kitchen here. So I've just been out now and bought a load more batten. This is 35 by 50, and I think it will work perfectly to do 35 here to line up with the edge of the bed, and then 50 just here, which should line us up with the edge of this beam. So I'm just going to now cut a few of those battens up, get them ready to put on the van, and then we can get this wall actually secured up. Right, so we've got those battens on the wall now, which are nice and secure, and that's where we're going to mount our initial cladding to. We've got fresh boards to cut that from, so this is kind of just working as a template. Going to get it up in position, and then what we want to do is when it gets to here, is make a slightly recessed pocket on it so that when we have our top cupboards in here, we just utilise as much space as possible. And they're ran with clothes, so in terms of insulation, it's probably as good as it just being air. So we're going to try and set that in using some more little bits of wood to create a slightly deeper pocket. See how that goes there, and then that will kind of inform how much of that we want to do in other places. So now let's get this up, drill some holes in here, get it on, and then we can mark out and cut the hole to go in there. So the idea with this is that it's going to sit in that little gap there like that. We're going to put some board on the back of it, and then we're going to cut a hole in this wall just to gain a little bit of extra space. It's not a lot, it's only sort of, I think this is 45 mil, oh, it's 50 mil. So we're only getting 50 mil, but that's quite a few t-shirts and boxes. It's gonna make the difference.
Much more space than what we currently have.
Yeah. It's quite nice having the old walls as template because we can kind of be rough with them. I can hack off corners, trim bits to make it fit and make it really nice before committing to the new wood. Just really helpful. Assuming all the maths are done correctly, we can now cut that hole out of there, mount this box on the back, and then when we put it up in place, we'll have all that extra room for activities. Yeah, here we are. The fruits of pretty much a whole day's labour working this out. So I would say that's actually gone in pretty much as good as it could be, really. You can see behind that this is filling in this gap here nicely, and then we can push all these buttons in and
Oh yeah, that would make it a lot better.
When we have our cupboards that open up here, there's just that extra little bit of storage room that in our previous van I think is just panelled straight down. It might even be panelled straight down from here.
It is. There's so much room that we just, I mean, you have to remember the cat can fit behind it.
Worth doing this because we might try and do the same in this sort of space here where our kitchen wall will be here. We could have cupboards that sort of utilise some of this negative space. But that's quite a nice day's work. Pretty pleased with that. So I think the next best thing to do is probably going to be this wall on the other side of the bed. The space back here is going to be quite wide. And then just in front of the bed in the kitchen area, it's all going to be in line with this slightly bigger beam. So the space is going to be a little bit narrower. I think for that, just to try and remove any unwanted errors, we're best to focus on the back first. So let's get this mounted up.
Don't you dare let it go.
I just realised I've made a mistake on this one. If we're doing this cutout through the middle, that guy's going to be a little bit in the way. I'll have to rethink this a bit. That's a bit better. Now we've got the space in here for this opening. Just going to do the same as yesterday and build a nice box to fit in there. So it's probably going to be quite similar to the masking taped area we did tape up the other day. I'm just going to take measurements of that and I'll cut the batten and we can then hold it up just to make sure before we commit to anything fully, but we'll get started measuring that. Just marked out on the old wall panel where this window is going to be so I can have a good test go at it, put this up, put that panel box behind just to make sure it is definitely perfect before we cut this new one. Sarah hasn't seen this yet, she's been inside all day doing work. I'm going to go give her a shout and get her to come back out and have a look.
What have you created? What have you made?
If we do the sides level, the top will inset and we'll just do lights along the top, which is loads easier anyway.
Yeah.
What do you think of the curves?
I like that curve.
Yeah.
That one can do a bit of work.
This one's nice.
That one's nice.
This is the one I did first.
Oh. Clouds.
Beautiful, isn't it? Really nice day.
It is a nice day.
Today's actually flown by. We were awake because we had to do a photo shoot this morning.
Yeah, fair.
So we didn't start work until quite late. This has come on well though. I'm pleased with how this has gone. Sick. Really pleased with that.
Me too, you've done good.
But coming up to 10 o'clock, we'll get the rest of this done tomorrow, you think?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Sure. Why not?
Well, there's rain in the air today. It's rained all morning. It feels like it's threatening it at any opportunity. I've put this wood down here to protect the floor a little bit, and we're going to keep kind of like a minimal setup outside. Just the stuff we need so that if it does rain, we can just throw stuff in, get everything safe. But job this morning is going to try and get this back on the frame and then get that mounted up inside.
Wait, you're doing my job. Pretty.
That's sick.
Your envelope has come to life.
Yeah, the stove's on that. That's so good. Really nice. And then we can just hide the lights up in here.
Oh, do you need a hole?
Yeah, we do. We
Okay.
need to paint first. And
Yeah.
everything. Right, guess I need to go to the shop and buy some paint. We didn't get paint. We got paint samples. Paint swatches.
Help me.
This is entirely your department and your decisions.
Yes, but it's hard.
So I think the next thing we need to do is get these secured up in place. The same with this side, get that up on the wall. And then I think we're best to probably move on to putting in our retaining walls, two little divides that run down either side and separate this little bed from the living space. People are going to go crazy because I know that you should panel everything in one go and then move on to the other stuff, but I think for us it makes sense to sort of start at the back and work forward. So we'll put this wall up and then we'll move on to paneling the next section, because these walls will form a really nice thing to attach them to and make it all work nice and cohesively, rather than trying to fit those in afterwards.
What about this blue, green, white?
Yeah, nice. It's a nice light colour.
He keeps saying yes to everything.
Well, they're all different shades of white or beige or cream, or they're all very similar.
I'm having a crisis.
We're going to attach tongue and groove slats to the front of these. So I'm just going to countersink all of these screws so we get a nice smooth finish to attach to. Right, so before we screw this one back into the wall, we do need to drill a hole in here.
Oh, do you need a hole?
Yeah, we do. Just to access these lights. All of this is going to be painted at a later date, once you've made your very important decisions. So we're going to probably paint these in situ and then fit the lights in afterwards, which isn't difficult to do. We just need to make sure we've got access through there for a cable.
Oh, I see it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I've done one at the pilot at a 4, and now I'm just going to do a 7. Just because I don't want to do it in too big in one go and potentially split this wood. The other one, thrusting it with my crotch.
Yeah, that was. Stop. Oh no.
So with these walls up and sheets and sheets of colour samples for paint, that's probably going to be the end of this one. Good progress though. This is a really good start. I think the next sort of process is going to be getting up the rest of the walls and then we're kind of like done with the actual main frame and the sort of like foundations, aren't we?
Then it's just paneling, the tongue and groove, sorry, not the paneling, the tongue and groove on literally everything.
Yeah, and then cabinets,
and then
chairs, tables,
vinyl on the floor. You see, it sounds so easy, but it's not.
Yeah, each one of those things is a massive, massive project on its own, but I enjoy it all and it's fun. And we're making good progress and it's going to be great when we're all done. So,
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yes, work on them pull-ups. Dun, 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 dun.